In the other videos, I'm going to go more into depth and detailed and answer probably the most common questions that people Google when they're looking for jobs. So I'll do that on the next video. So now we're at tip number 3. It's my final tip for this video. And tip number 3 is to assume the position is yours. And what I mean by this is that because you've already prepared and reflected on your history, your job history, and what your good qualities are and what you're good at, and you've already built some confidence up, tip number 3 is where you assume the position is yours when you go in to meet the interviewer, or the hiring manager or the hiring supervisor. When you walk in to meet them, you want to make eye contact and shake their hands and glad to meet you, and there's going to be some small talk. How was your drive? And they'll probably ask, how was your drive, or what part of town do you live in? You can just say, oh, it was great. I don't live very far from here. It's a good commute. Or if they don't have small talk, maybe they're just not having the best of time. Maybe they're just not in the mood to talk, small talk. You can maybe just say something about the weather. Oh, the weather's nice today, or I wasn't expecting the rain today, or anything like that. You can do small talk or not. You can just have that silence until you get to the interview room. And on your way to the interview room where you sit down, you want to tell yourself, I got this. I'm going to get this job. It's a mindset. So that's why I called it assuming the position is yours, because this has always worked for me. And knowing that there are probably 5 to 20 other interviewees, and they have already met. They could be already tired of interviewing so many people, or they can't make a decision, or they have 1 or 2 people they can't decide who they like better. It's your opportunity to prove to them that who you are, what you bring to the table, what you bring to the team, your good qualities are. And so being confident, smiling, and just kind of bringing that energy out and letting them know that this is who I am. Any situation or question that they ask you, you're able to put your personality behind it and say, I'm a team player. I'm always willing to go the extra mile. And at my last company, this issue came up and I was able to resolve it. And I'm glad to help wherever there needs to be help at. You want to have positive responses. You don't want to have long explanations. You want to just speak for 20 seconds after each question and then just kind of pause, and you can just have a stopping point. Because you've already memorized your work history and some of your qualities and your strong points and what you're good at, when you actually answer their questions, you won't have to ramble. You'll just pause and they'll know that they're ready for the next question or a follow-up question. So I'll go into detail with that in the next video. It gets really detailed. But like I said, I'm just going to tell you what works for me. And when you're in the interview and you're assuming the position, you really are telling yourself, I got this. This is my job. It doesn't matter how bad you want the job, because a lot of times it feels good just to know that they picked you over someone else. And keep in mind, even if they don't pick you right off, you could be their second choice. So if you don't get called to get hired for the job, it doesn't necessarily mean you're off the table yet. It could mean that maybe the other candidate may not even show up to the second interview, or they may not show up at all. They may not take the job. So always keep in mind that you could always be next in line, or maybe the third person, or maybe they need 2 or 3 people and they decide they want 2 people. If they really like you, they'll open a position for you. So you really just want to keep in mind that as long as you're prepared and you're confident and you go in with the attitude that I got this job. And for me, I've always been I'm a little introverted and quiet, but when I'm actually in the interview, just thinking about the interview is making me nervous. But when I'm into the interview, I'm very, not overly friendly, but I open up out of my shell a little bit, and I speak very clearly, and I smile, and I give the best examples that I've thought about and can think of at other jobs. And it's good to know yourself and your work history and what you've done in the past. It really is good to know that when you go into the interview. It's good to have that. It's like being able to not convince them, but they'll see it from your response. They'll know that, oh, they know what they're talking about, or they would be a good fit. They really know they've gone through this before, or they're just really smart. You'll come across as very smart if you open up a little bit and you smile, and maybe you're super introverted and shy and you're not sure you're going to be able to assume the position when you're interviewing. Just telling yourself that I got this is enough. You don't have to totally come out of your shell in the interview. Some hiring managers are very friendly, so it's easy to open up to them. They've heard all the same answers basically, but they want the person with the nicest personality. Maybe you could be relatable to them and just say something that would actually pull you to the top of the line or the top of the selection. Maybe you can relate to them in some sort of way. But either way, some managers aren't very friendly. Don't take it personal. Just be yourself and assume that the position is yours. It really is that simple, and I'm sure you'll do fine. I think just putting yourself out there and interviewing for a job maybe that you don't really even want, you just need to get by. It's fine. You just need to go for it and just go through the process, and you learn as you go, and you'll get better at interviewing. It won't be so difficult, or you won't be so nervous the next time. And it's all just practice and just being yourself and just knowing who you are and being as confident as you can be. You don't have to go in there and tell jokes and win them over or anything. You just have to be yourself, and you don't have to go in there and overemphasize that you have all this like college degrees and skills and high level experience. You just have to go in there and just give them basic examples of what you've done in the past and let them know in those responses that you can bring to the team what they need you to do in the job description. It really is just repeating the job description to them in your own words according to your history or your work history. So that's the bottom line, and good luck. If you want, I will talk more about the actual interview table and what's worked for me in the past. I've done so many interviews, you never get used to them. You always get nervous, but in the other videos, I'm going to go more into depth and detailed and answer probably the most common questions that people Google when they're looking for jobs. So I'll do that on the next video. Thank you and good luck. Bye-bye.